They told me don't make a promise you can't keep. Everybody live a little, everybody down. Yeah. I guess fuck it. That's right. What you gonna do? Man, I swear that's what I dream about. That's right. Baby, I was spending it all with you. Yeah. What you gonna do? Everything is jazz. That's right. Baby, I was spending it all with you. Yeah. Can I please get a standing ovation? 100 naked bitches in my dressing room waiting. We lost a lot of blood for this fucked up nation. That's right. What you gonna do?
Welcome to That's Life Podcast, Episode 4. Today we'll be talking about something that I think is a challenging subject for everybody in regards to various aspects of life, and that subject today is patience. And today with me, per usual, I have my beautiful girlfriend Alison here, and she's going to be sharing her experiences with using patience or lack thereof. And I'd like to introduce her. With no further ado, here she is.
Hi, you guys. Welcome back to our channel. I mean, the podcast.
Podcast channel, same thing.
Yeah. So today's topic is going to be a pretty good one because I have a lot of experience, I guess, in this topic, or lack thereof, I guess. So I'm excited to talk about it and see what we can come up with.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about it as well, and I wanted to thank everybody for joining me again today. Like I said in the last one, I'm trying to be more consistent with these and make a better product, and I believe I'm doing that. And part of in me doing that has been that I've had to use is patience. I've had to be patient in the process of doing it and patient with myself, not get upset with myself if I kind of made a commitment and didn't do it. I mean, I still hold myself to that standard and have every right to be upset with me, but I'm also patient for the process. And specifically when it comes to the technical process of making a better product, I'm going to use this as an example. I pretty much just finished up our at-home office this weekend where, I got a couple little more details that I want to get for my MacBook computer. My work computer, I have everything I need for. But even that, I still have enough where we're doing this. This is our first cast from our office, and it took a little while. We've been in this place since September. It's now the beginning of February, and we just had this room as a big empty space. Excuse my cat meowing in the background. He's on some crack today. But needless to say, it took a little while for us to build this room out. We had every plans and intentions to, and we just never got around to doing it. And my goal was to do the podcast back here, and seeing just the slow progress over the few podcasts has reassured me in areas where I maybe wasn't being patient and I wanted to do it. But even at that time, I feel subconsciously I was aware of where I wanted to take this podcast, technically speaking, and also with ease of podcasting. And I kind of just knew, start doing it slowly and it's going to build up. And that's still always my intentions with this podcast, is to just build it slowly, make things incrementally better, change things to fine-tune it, and eventually the final product is just going to end up being better and better, and hopefully people enjoy the topics we're talking about and it grows to beyond my wildest dreams. But I have a lot of patience for that. I know that I could only put one foot in front of the other. Every week that I make one, try to make it a little bit better than the previous weeks in some regard. So it's just a matter of me having the patience to do that. And what are your thoughts on some aspects of patience that you've illustrated, maybe in the process of making this, in the process of your own career, and just navigating through life, like how is like being patient or lack thereof kind of shaped your experience?
So I can say that in the last couple years, mainly since I've gotten sober, I have been better about learning patience. But I think that I struggle, and I still do, but have a lot in the past with patience, because I think I was always addicted to that instant gratification. And I think that that plays a part in actually the drugs and alcohol too, because there would be things that I wanted to do, but then I would see how long it might take me to get there, or knowing the length of time that I would need to put in to get there. And so then I would just be like, that's too much work. I'm going to go over here and party and drink and have a good time because that can happen right now. And so I put off a lot of things by doing that and just not having the patience. But I think all of the best things that I have in my life, or the things that I'm the greatest at, haven't happened overnight. All the things that I have put in a lot of work for a lot of years, I am great at now, but I wasn't at first. And so it kind of forced me to be patient. And I think the gym was probably the first thing for me that really, it was very difficult at first and very frustrating, but it also was really, really good for me because it forced me to learn patience, because I knew how badly I wanted to be fit and be healthy and have the body that I wanted to have. But there was no way that I was going to be able to walk into the gym and then walk out the next day looking the way that I wanted to look. And so with that slow progress, but then taking progress pictures along the way and then seeing over time how much really has changed. And I think that that's one thing that we struggle with as well, is we see what's going on now, and humans are adaptable, and so we will look at what we have now and we just think, oh, this is what it is, but you really are not looking at the huge picture. Like us right now setting up this office, which I'm extremely excited for and absolutely love, but we really have to think about how long it took us to get here and the patience that we had to have this even happen, because we've been talking about doing a podcast probably since we started dating. And so maybe we weren't, all gung-ho about it until just recently when we actually started it, but it is something that we've talked about. But there's quite a few things in my life that I have probably quit myself from doing because of lack of patience. And so I think that learning that and making myself be patient and understanding that if I am patient, that there is a possibility that I can be absolutely phenomenal at something. And so that's a good example with, this too, but with my YouTube, that is kind of what stopped me a little bit at first, because I started it and within a couple months I wanted it to be 5 years progress, which is not possible. And so really being patient and kind of like slow and steady wins the race. Don't go all gung-ho and then burn yourself out and give up on something. But like you said, it's being patient with it and knowing that there's each step as you go, and then it's brick by brick by brick, and eventually you have the whole house built. So
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really happy that you mentioned the gym, because I think that has taught me a lot of patience over the years. Kind of just going back to the effort that you have to put in on a consistent basis to achieve the body you want, or the goals you want, as far as lifting certain numbers or metrics and just whatever workout you're doing. You're not, you could go in and try to deadlift 500 pounds your first day in the gym in however many months or years, and maybe if you're extremely genetically gifted, you'll get it. But the vast majority of people, you're not going to get it your first day. You're not going to get it your second day. You're not going to probably get it in your first month. You're probably not going to get it in your second month. You're probably not even going to get it in your third month in the gym, hitting the numbers or goals or how you want, unless you're extraordinarily close. But these are all outliers. But for the general majority, it's going to take patience. And having done that several times, the process of that several times in the gym, where I've made it one of my main focuses, was I wanted to attain a certain physique or hit certain numbers. It takes a lot of patience and discipline and just execution. And it's by doing that, though, and then actually getting to the goals or the spot that you want with it, it teaches you like stuff is achievable if you just put the time in. You're like, yes, it might take you going to the gym 5 or 6 days a week, and you need to be meal prepping a few times a week, and you need to eat 5 or 6 times a day consistently for months on end. But if you do that, you'll eventually hit it. And it takes a lot of patience because you can't really rush the process. You could only sleep so much in a day. You could only eat so much in a day. You could only work out so much in a day, and you need your rest on top of that. So you're not, just because you're going to the gym, that's not where you're getting actually you're getting the results by going, but it's delayed even with that, because you're going to the gym, you getting home and eating what you're supposed to, and then getting good sleep is where you're actually building muscle and gaining strength. So it's even delayed. Like, yeah, maybe the next time you go to the gym and do that workout again, you are going to be a little bit stronger, but it's because you were consistent in going to the gym, consistent with your eating, consistent with your rest, that you're hitting your goals in that regard. So the gym definitely has taught me that, and I'm really happy I got into going to the gym at a young age, because that lesson has carried over with me throughout the majority of my adult life, in regards to work, in regards to relationships, in regards to finances, in regards to basically everything. Is if I want to put my time and attention into whatever it is that I'm trying to improve or make headway in, then I need to give it my focus and just keep doing the things day after day after day. And then eventually you're going to look back in 6 months and be like, holy shit, I had a goal of, I wanted to save $25,000, and I made a budget, and I followed my budget to an exact T, and then, hey, look, I'm here. I got my $25,000. Now I could go buy the car or buy the house or go on the vacation or whatever it is that you have with that money. But it's about like the day-to-day consistent discipline, and then also knowing that you're going to hit where you want and see your incremental progress. Like, you're not going to be where you want in, like I said, in a month or 2 months even, but you're going to be farther along in that journey than you were when you started. So it is self-gratifying, and if you follow the process, whether that be the gym or any of the other things that I mentioned, is just the consistency and then the patience with that to know that it's going to work out how you're planning. So I do feel like it's really hard to be patient in the moment, especially if you have, because like as humans, we do want things instantly, especially in today's day and age with social media and Uber Eats and just the internet. It makes things very readily accessible, whatever it is, whether that be food or some sort of material object or other people, even, for instance. Like, if you look back 60 years ago, if you wanted to talk to somebody, you had to call them on the phone and hope that they were home. 60 years ago, they didn't even have answering machines. If they did, I'm sure you were probably a rich person and it wasn't very common. Or you had to write them a letter, or you had to go there in person. Today's day and age, you could call them on the phone. You could DM them on various social media platforms. You could leave a message when you call them. You could send them a text message. There's just so many different, you could send them an email. There's so many ways, and then people are getting constantly notified of that. So the communication speed has picked up between humans just for the fact of technology. So because we're getting that validation so much quicker from through technology from other people, I think that's carried over into stuff that for thousands of years prior to this, people understood that stuff was going to take time. Like they knew if they went and planted their crops, they weren't going to have the crops until that season came. Today's day and age, you could go to the grocery store and buy whatever food you want out there at any time of year, no matter what, whether it's in season or not, it's in the grocery store. And that type of accessibility to people, to things, has really withered away at our patience for other areas of our life. We expect it because it makes those things make us more comfortable, and human nature is to be as comfortable as possible. So when we're waiting on something and we're like unsure of it or working towards it, we don't have it yet, that makes us slightly uncomfortable because we realize there's more work to put in, more stuff that we need to do in order to get there. We're more comfortable when we just want the thing, we get the thing right away, and then we're like, oh, good, I got the thing. I don't have to worry about that anymore, and progress along. So I think it's a lot of the reason why we all have a hard time with patience is because of the instant accessibility to so many different things, and it does take its toll on the other areas of life. But that being said, I was wondering what your thoughts were on any of that.
No, I think you were super spot on with the instant gratification in today's day and age with how everything is so accessible so immediately. And Amazon, a good example of that, because even, I can't remember what it was, but something was being sent here, and it's crazy how I don't know what the word is, but how we are so used to Amazon having things to us within a week, if not days, that if we get a product from any other company and it comes in like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, then we get irritable or like, where is this? Why is it taking so long? It's like, that was normal. You know, it was normal for that. And then Amazon changed that for everyone. And so to have things so instantly, but that's not what I wanted to say was, what helps me with the patience thing, I think, because it made me think, when you were talking, it made me think of the quote, a watch pot never boils. And so if you set a goal on something and you're obsessing over it and you're just thinking about it, and I can use the gym as an example for this, but you set a physical goal or whatever it may be, and you're dwelling on it, and it's the next day, and you're like, why am I not there yet? Why am I not there yet? You're thinking of it in the lack mode. You're thinking of, why am I not where I want to be? But if you set it out into the universe of what your goal is and what you're going to do, and then you just put your head down and not, you let it go, and then you just do what you know that you need to do, it always comes faster, and it comes more than what I even expected. All of the things that I've been like, yes, I want to do this, and then I was actually patient about it and wasn't obsessing over it the whole entire time, I would get past my end goal of where I even wanted to be, and then I'm like, holy shit, how did I get here, and how did I get here so fast? And I got even farther than I wanted to be. And so I think that, setting goals and being able to, being patient is really a virtue. It's important. And so if you can manage that, then it really does help the things that you want come to you faster, I believe, at least in my experience, because there's certain things that I've, wanted to do even at one time, and I'm like, okay, this is what I want to do. Instead of thinking about it all the time, about why I'm not there yet, just know that I'm going to get there, and then physically just do the things that I have to do to get there, and I will eventually. Just have faith that you'll be there. And so I think that helps a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Having kind of just setting the goal, setting your intentions, and then putting your head and just kind of grinding it out. That kind of goes a long way. I know that's kind of what I've had to do in the past with certain things. Is I know this is going to be slightly uncomfortable for myself, but I need to just get this done now, and not really worry about the outcome and just have faith that the outcome is going to happen, but also ultimately accept the process of getting there and learn to somewhat enjoy the process. Because I'm going to keep using the gym in this podcast, for example, because I really think that the crossover between patience and the work you have to put in works out really nicely. But it's the same thing with when you're meal prepping. At first, it's kind of hard and kind of a bitch, and you're like, damn, I got to go to the grocery store again. I'm out of chicken already, or I'm out of eggs already, or I'm out of vegetables already. And it gets a little bit annoying, but eventually it kind of becomes a bright spot, and you're like, okay, well, and you also learn in the process of doing it. You might buy too little of chicken the first couple times because you're not trying to let any go to waste, and then you realize you're eating more, so you're like, let me buy another pack. So you're kind of fine-tune the process, so the process becomes a little bit easier. And then by the time it's formed as a habit. I believe it's after 21 days they say something's a habit. I haven't looked into the validity of that recently. Maybe there's been more studies on it, but I know that's what they've said over the years is 21 days for something to be a habit. But making the things into a habit, ultimately you're not really consciously thinking about the process so much anymore. You're just subconsciously programmed to do whatever it is, whether that be make the meals, go work out, or if it's, say, you're trying to study for some sort of test or license to further your career along. It's a matter of just doing the steps and doing them consistently for a long enough time where it becomes ingrained in you and becomes part of your day-to-day activities. And it almost feels weirder when you don't do it than when you do it. And it's definitely the most willpower that you need to execute in the beginning when doing processes like that. But eventually it becomes a little bit easier. I know I could speak from my own personal experiences on that. It's just a matter of sticking it out. I don't know if you had something to say on that.
Yeah, I was going to say that patience is another way to help deal with that. Is obviously you're setting a goal or whatever it is that you want that you are not being patient for. Let's say it's a trip that's coming. I think if we can change our perspective of how we're looking at it and not like, I'm so mad or sad or frustrated that it's not here yet, use that time in between to be excited for that thing that is coming. Just believe that it's going to be here, but embrace the anticipation of it getting here. Because I can honestly say, I'm pretty sure that there's even studies done on this that says that half of the fun is in the imagination of the thing that's coming. And so if we are stating that we want something and the next day it's there, and then we say we want something, the next day it's there, when do you get to have those feelings about, daydreaming about it and getting excited for it? And I think, it goes back to the instant gratification thing. I think we think that we want it immediately, but we don't. We want that. We want that buildup of it. We want that excitement of it. We want that looking at something and being like, I want that so bad, and then, building it up until you get it, and then it feels so much better. I can say, at least in my experience from the things that, I've gotten, because I feel more satisfied with myself that I was able to be patient for it, and it just means more to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely understand where you're coming from, and that makes a lot of sense. I think you do value things more when you earn them, opposed to just get them right away. And it makes you really cherish that moment. I like how you used going on a trip as part of what you were talking about, because I do think when I reflect on previous trips that I had great times on, I had great times on the trip, no doubt, but it was a good portion of it was anticipating it. Was it like thinking about what am I going to wear on, like, for example, if I was going to a music festival, traveling for that, it's like, okay, I got my plane, I got the hotel lined up, or I got where I'm staying lined up. I got the rental car lined up. I need to think about what I'm going to wear to these music festivals. And just the whole planning process is also part of the fun, because maybe while you are at work and you have that trip to look forward to, you're thinking about the little details and you're like, oh, that's a good idea. Or something inspires you, like, oh, that's a good idea, which in turn makes you more excited and then ready for the experience when it comes, because you've been able to think it through and wanted, like, really build up the drive to want to do what you're doing, and it really makes it that much more enjoyable.
I also think, I know, I don't remember where I heard this, but I really liked it. I think it was on a podcast of some sort, but they said, don't ever say you can't wait to do something. Say that you're excited to do something, but don't be like, I can't wait to be there, or I can't wait to go do that. And because it takes you out of the present moment. And so if you have that thing tomorrow or immediately, like I say, I want to have 100,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel, and I have that tomorrow, I missed my whole journey of getting there. And literally, I mean, it's cliche, but life is literally about the journey. It's not about the destination. And so if I just immediately get destination after destination after destination, what fun is there in that? We might think that there is, and we might think that that's what we want, but we really are looking for the journey of getting there. And so even now, I know that this is so much more than where we have came from, but I know that it's going to be even more farther along than this. But if I was just like sitting here and I was like, yeah, this is great, but I can't wait until it's better, then it's like I am missing out on this moment. I'm missing out on this evening of us putting this little office together. And even when we were in the apartment before this, and that was really, really difficult for me because I did not like it, and I just wanted to be where I knew we were going to be. I knew I wasn't going to be there forever, but I knew that if I didn't embrace where I was and be okay with that, then I would have never gotten to where I wanted to be. And so accepting my situation and understanding that I'm not going to be there forever, and having patience in that, and just that vision, just holding that vision in my mind and being like, I know that I'm going to be in that place. Live in that place in my mind until I get to be there in my physical body. And literally, I'm here now, and this is the place that I visualized months ago at the other place, and just hoping that I would, be here. But it was exactly when I was accepting my situation and calmed down about where I was, and was like, okay, this is fine. This is where I'm at. It's not where I'm going to be forever. I am being patient that it is coming, and it will be here eventually. And before you know it, you're going to even forget that this place, and even only being out a couple months, we talk about it, and I forget even what it was like living there. And so just really embracing the moment that you were in, because every moment goes by so fast. And so I don't want to get to the big 100 or the big whatever, and then look back and be like, well, I don't even have any memories of any of it because I was so focused on getting here that I don't even remember, all the work that I put in to get there.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad that you said that. It made me think of a couple things. The first thing I wanted to say is, if you're not grateful for where you came from, where you are currently, you'll never be able to receive where you're going ultimately. If you're just in such a process of, you don't remember where you were 6 months ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, to contrast that, and you're like, wow, I came a long way. I was really grateful for the process of getting to where I'm at now. And now I'm here, and I have all of the things that I really wanted or aspired to get, and I have it, or I'm way farther along working towards it than I was. You're never going to be able to, if you do receive it, the chances of you keeping it are probably pretty slim, because you kind of have a off-kilter, off-balance mindset towards everything, because you're not grounded within yourself and your experiences that you're having. So I think that's really important. You need to be grateful for where you came from, where you're at, in order to be able to receive and appreciate where you're going. and that's also part of the process. And secondly, I wanted to say that when you are reflecting on past experiences that maybe were uncomfortable in the time of you experiencing them, like you using the apartment that we're staying at when we first got to Florida, like that was uncomfortable. Generally, the more time that passes, the uncomfortability kind of fades, and you only really remember the fond moments of the process. Like the apartment, for example, like we got our cats there. When we were there, or like by that area the other week, that's what we remembered. We were like, we got the cats here. Like we don't think about like, oh yeah, remember the time where they were always cutting trees there, or how many times you had to. Well, we do remember it, but that's like second or third forethought, and we like laugh at it now. It's not like, and it makes us that much more grateful for where we're at, and like to actually see the progress. So I think that's kind of what happens too in the process when you have bigger goals or dreams or aspirations that you're working towards. You might get caught up in the moment of being uncomfortable about where you're at, but in the long term grand scheme of things, if you stick through the process and you're patient, eventually you're going to be in a better place, and you're not going to remember so like with such angst that you might have in the moment experiencing it, like what happened. You're just going to be like, yeah, I'm grateful that happened to me. It was a good experience. Maybe I didn't like X, Y, and Z about that experience, but overall it helped shape me and the person I'm at now. I'm not there anymore, and I'm able to continue and progress on with my life. There's another thing I wanted to bring out in here that's helped me over the last couple of years. I have a friend, his name's James. I don't know if you're listening to this, but he helped me with something that worked on patience. He has this very unique journaling exercise that's pretty much like remembering is one of the phrases or terms that he'll use to explain it. But remembering and kind of remembering your story and being able to tell it in this unique journaling writing style that he was gifted with ultimately. And doing that with him, before you do the exercise, you have to breathe. There's a certain breathing pattern that you have to do before you'll get into this journaling exercise. And he calls it's because it's in the magic world, and in order to get into the magic world, you have to pay shints, and you pay shints through your breathing. So in the process of you doing this, you're focused on your breathing, you're in the moment, you're really connecting with your body and connecting with like just that moment, and you do this through breathing. So I think breathing is super important as well when you're frustrated maybe at a situation, when you're working out, when you're anywhere. Being mindful of your breath and your breathing while you're doing things throughout the day-to-day really helps you navigate and find that patience, pay your shins, find that patience, and like work through the process, like one breath at a time, one step at a time. Just be focused on the moment, and like things kind of will slow down. And when you're connected with yourself and your breath, it definitely, my own personal experience is when I'm really focused on my breathing, it kind of eliminates the noise that's happening around me, or the mental chatter, or the anxiety, or the angst, or the frustration with the situation. It really brings me back into myself and allows me to kind of regroup and then continue on down the path that I'm trying to get down. Yeah, what do you like to say?
I love that so much, but I wanted to add on. I mean, it's the same. It can go hand in hand, but I was going to say meditation is absolutely huge for patients. That is something that, as somebody, as myself, that has struggled very heavily with patience and still do sometimes, when I started meditating, it's not easy at first, especially if you're a person that can't sit down and you're always wanting to do something, but forcing yourself to sit in silence for 10 to 15 to 20 minutes or however long you choose to can be very difficult at first. But once you sit yourself down and you discipline yourself and you make yourself, it does get easier, and it does kind of with the breathing, it calms you. And now it's to a point where I can meditate and my alarm will go off and it feels like I was meditating for like 2 minutes. But I can't say that there's not these mornings when I want to meditate, but I know that I have things that I need to do, and sometimes it's hard for me to kind of get to that place of not thinking, and so I'll be like, okay, when is this gonna be over? Like, I have stuff I need to do. But the meditating is very important for the rest of the stuff, so I make myself do it, because we can always be like, oh, I'm too busy to meditate. Or there's another quote that says, it says you should meditate every day for 15 to 20 minutes, but if you're really busy and you don't have the time to, then do it for 30. Like, the more busy that your life is and the more hectic and things that you have going on, the more necessary it is for you to do that and calm yourself down.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think meditation is crucial for patience, because it helps you, from my own like mindfulness meditation practices, it really helps you observe your thoughts and what you're thinking and feeling, and not necessarily identify with them, recognize them, see them, let them pass. And it's taken me a long time, and even it's still a constant practice. You never just master that and you have it down pat. It's a consistent practice. I will say, however, the carryover has been substantially noticed through the last several years of my life, from eventually kind of picking that up when I'm in a frustrated situation, or when I'm in some sort of like situation where I'm feeling less than optimal. I'm able to kind of observe my thoughts and not identify with them. I mean, it's like I said, it's not just, oh, somebody wants to punch me in the face and then I'm just like, oh, one breath and I'm good. It's more than that, but I'm at least able to, the majority of the time, somewhat catch myself and bring myself down to think a little bit more rationally and move through whatever situation it is with a little bit more like patience and grace. So I do think that that's really important. I'm not sure if you had anything else that you wanted to say into this topic, if we wanted to like leave them with some more helpful advice or tidbits.
You go first, and then I will speak up.
Yeah, so I think that being patient is something that everybody consistently should be working on, or I would hope that they're working on it, because it's very important. You're not going to get anything done with a hasty attitude, trying to get out of there. You're literally just going to end up experiencing more suffering and pain by, say you get to you're a construction worker, you get to the job site, you know you got to be there from 7 to 3:30, and by 8 o'clock you're already miserable for the fact you're still at work. Your day isn't going to get any better by being miserable for the fact you're there. So having the patience and the understanding to know you're going to be there for the designated amount of time. Why don't you do your best to try to maneuver through the day so you have the best day possible, even though you're doing something you might not want to do, or you're somewhere you want to be, or you're with somebody you don't want to be with. Still, having patience and understanding for the situation, and realizing the more patient you are, the more you are in the moment, and the more you're in tune with what's going on in yourself and in your surroundings, the easier your day will be. The more you'll notice the little things. You might end up having some good conversations or good experiences because there's just less resistance for being there. You're just creating all this resistance when you're in this place that you don't want to be, but you have to be there. If you just accept it for what it is, using patience and understanding, and just kind of roll with it, there's a lot of good experiences that could be had. Stuff isn't as bad as you make it seem in your head, unless you're continually playing this loop in your head telling you that you don't want to be doing this thing, or this is awful, but you have to do it anyway because there's a financial obligation that's at stake, or you feel the need that you need to work out all the time and you're just hating the gym because there's some other external pressure. Like, you feel like if you're a male, you need to be working out at the gym in order to get girls, and you're like, I hate this, I need to get a girl. Like, you putting that resistance there doesn't make it any easier, and it just makes the process and the journey a lot more challenging. So be patient in the situations, be understanding for yourself, but like if it's something you have to do, it's something you have to do, and like remove the expectations from the situation where you think that it needs to be a certain thing or be a certain way. Like every experience is a new experience, and just being patient through those experiences and understanding through those experiences will end up making your life a lot more not more stressful. It'll end up making it a lot less stressful by you just processing everything on a moment to moment basis and then maneuvering through it as so, not necessarily enforcing your expectations on a situation because it doesn't go your way or you're doing something you don't want to do. Just accept it for what it is and then make the best of it. So that's kind of the last of what I wanted to share into patience. I'm not sure if you had anything you wanted to leave everybody with.
Yeah, I'm just going to kind of play off of what you said because I really do like that. But I'm going to go back to the attraction and what we manifest in our own lives. So patience, if you choose patience, you can choose peace, basically. Because like you said, if you decide to focus on what it is that you can't be patient about or that you don't have yet, and you keep focusing on not having it, then you are going to drive yourself mad in frustration and anger, because the more you focus on not having it, the more of not having it you're going to have. And so you're going to go in this cycle of being angry that you don't have it, but the universe is only going to send you what you're focusing on, and so that's going to be more of not having it, and so that will drive you crazy. So I think that my suggestion is to, kind of what I said earlier, is send it out there, but let go of the thought. If you have the resistance towards it, then you need to choose something in your life that is going really well and that you are really proud of yourself with, or something that you are excited about, or something that you enjoy doing, and focus on that. Because when you are in it doesn't have to be the same topic. So if I want to, have my dream body, and I am putting in the work and going to the gym and doing that sort of thing, but I'm beating myself up every single day when I come to the gym, then that's only going to hinder me. But if I'm going to the gym, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm not dwelling on it, but my relationship's going really well, and I focus on how well my relationship's doing, I bring my vibration up by being happy about that topic, and so it will literally bring the other topics in my life up to that level. So you don't have to be super happy about your dream body. You can literally let that go and just let go of that resistance and do something that you enjoy doing, like paint, if that makes you happy, or go outside, go for a walk, watch a funny movie, take a nap. Like, let go of that resistance, because the more that you think about it in your mind of not having it yet, I hate to break it to you, but the law is literally that it will keep sending you not having it, and so that will drive you crazy. And so, kind of like how I said earlier, if you let it go, it will come faster. Because if you start to focus on things, you're like, yeah, like I'm actually doing really good at this. Like, I'm getting up every day and I'm meditating every day, or I'm getting up and I'm meal prepping, and you focus on the stuff that maybe it's little, like, oh, I don't know, any little thing that you feel a little bit of happiness about, and you just focus on that, then the things that you do want will end up coming into the picture. I'm serious. Like, they will.
Yeah, I like that advice. I really think it's important that you focus on what it is that you like about your life and what you're grateful for about your life before your life could get any better. You're not going to hate every aspect about your life and yourself, and then all of a sudden it's going to magically just improve. Like, even if... Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to say, and this works in the opposite way too. So if you are doing really well in your relationship, or you're super happy that you've been, money managing and whatnot, but you're not paying attention to those things that are going well, and you only dwell on the fact that you don't have your dream body yet and you're mad about that, you can bring the other things down too. So you can take down the other topics of the vibration of those by dwelling on that stuff. So you really don't want to do that. But if you have 9 things that are going shitty and 1 thing that's going well. Focus on that 1 thing that you're doing well, and the other 9 will catch up.
Yeah,
So I just
definitely.
want to say that. It goes both ways.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Careful.
As long as if you're focusing on the one thing that's going well and you're carrying over the feelings that one thing that's going well into the other things that you're doing, you still have to do the things. You can't just be like, oh, well, my relationship's going amazing, but I don't have the body I want. My finances are not good. I hate my job. And then not put any effort into those. Like if you're like, okay, I really don't like my job. How can I make it better? Do I need to find a new job? Do I need to kind of rebrand or rethink what I'm doing? And but think about your relationship. You're like, my relationship makes me really happy, super able to navigate that really well. I like the conversations I have. I like all of that. Like think about that while you're doing the other thing that maybe you don't like. Like obviously stuff is going to take your attention, but still bringing over that, or if you start feeling that angst while you're in the process of doing whatever it is that you don't like, but you come back to that thought, that kind of allows those vibrations to kind of tap into one another. So I just wanted to couple in with that. But as far as patience, I think, like I said, throughout this whole podcast, I think it's something we're always working on and striving to have, and it's really important that we try to illustrate it day to day in our lives, moment to moment, because things go a lot smoother and there's less anxiety and less stress when you're patient and understanding for situations. So I think this is another thing that I'm glad that I'm bringing this up, but I do also think that there is a natural flow to life. There's a natural rhythm. Everybody has their own natural rhythm. I can't speak on anybody else's rhythm. I can only speak on myself. But I almost know within myself when I'm forcing a situation or trying too hard to make something happen, and being aware, and I catch myself in those situations where I'll use the last company I worked for as an example. When stuff started going downhill, it made me extremely uncomfortable, extremely spiteful, and extremely enraged about how could a company treat their employees like this? How could they just have blatant disregard for people and just be making up these rules with no explanation? And it made me really, really uncomfortable, and I wanted to leave that company so bad, probably since middle of last August. I remember after my birthday coming back, and they were telling everybody they were taking everybody's trucks away, that we had take-home trucks for the entire time I was there previously. It wasn't a problem with anybody, and then all of a sudden now it's a problem. We need to bring our trucks back. Can't have our trucks going home with anyone. Then ever since then, it just went downhill, and the entire time I was like, I need to find a new job. I need to get out of this. I need to do something. Nothing seemed to really work out, and even in the process of all of that, I still, deep down, my own intuition knew that something better was coming, and it's kind of more of the act. I was putting resumes out there, I was doing some interviews, but I kind of always knew in the process of doing that if this was right for me or if this was going to work. But it's I still was putting the effort in, but I kind of already knew when my time was going to come, stuff was going to end up flowing pretty easily for me. It wasn't going to be, I didn't need to put all this effort and try super hard to get a new job. It's the stuff comes to me. I don't have to go out and get the stuff. I'm just going to be myself, be honest, do my best, put it out there, put my intentions out there. You see, I am applying for the jobs. I am trying to find it, but the company I work for now, they contacted me and offered me the position, and I had to do the interviews, but it was still pretty seamless with me getting in there. It was okay, yep, you got the job. And so that is an example, is there shouldn't be, if you're forcing something, if it's something you're really, really it's just a grind every day, and it's been that way for longer than you could, you kind of have to be patient for it, and then wait for an opportunity to present itself that makes you feel good and is an improvement of whatever it is you're trying to do, and then take that. But just every day, just you have to kind of stick it out and wait and find the best in the situations for that to happen. But now this is all that I got to say. I don't know if you wanted to conclude with anything, but
Yeah, one more thing. I just wanted to say, I think that other than being patient for the things that we want, I think we need to have more patience with ourselves as humans, and we need to have more patience for other people, because I think that we hold ourselves and other people to really high expectations, and we kind of lose sight of that we are doing the best we can. And this quote that came to me in my head that I wanted to leave with was, hopefully I don't butcher it, is the best you can do is the best you can do, and the best you can do is enough. So just do what you can, but don't try to force anything. Just know what you need to do. Just do that, and then let it go.
Yep.
Don't do too much, and don't beat yourself up, and don't beat others up. Like, have patience. Patience is a beautiful thing.
Yes, I agree. I'm gonna also rephrase what you just said. You know what they say when you have to force a fart? It's probably shit.
I love it.
So in that regard, that's how I'm going to end it. Hopefully you guys are all laughing. But it's important to be patient, not force anything. Really tune into what you're feeling. Meditation will help you access that. Through your breath will help you access that. Be grateful for the present moments, for the past where you came from. Take that into whatever endeavors you're doing, and you'll ultimately end up living a pretty happy life. I can't speak on as far as success. Everybody quantifies that different, but as far as I quantify it, if you're patient and you're understanding for your situations and you're grateful, that sounds pretty successful to me. I would like to thank everybody for joining us on this episode. Hopefully you're able to get something good out of it. I'm really happy that you guys are tuning in and supporting us. Keep doing that. Keep spreading this podcast around. And keep letting me know your thoughts. The more interactions I have, I love when people text me about the podcast. I love when I see it reposted, or I love when I get a DM, or for any sort of interaction that I get from somebody that was listening to it. I know that I'm touching somebody's heart and getting, like, they're hearing what I have to say, and hopefully making their day better, letting their whatever it is they're doing a little bit more enjoyable. So I want to thank you. I appreciate you guys all. Keep tuning in and keep spreading a whole lot of big love. And
we're out.